So today we'll start with circular motion. So first we will see some important definitions. What are angular variables? What is angular position? So suppose this is the origin and this is the position of the particle. This is the position of the particle. Then the angular position of this particle is represented by theta. So now for specifying the angular position, you need, what do you need? You need a coordinate system with a origin, and angular position is described with respect to the coordinate system. So this theta is the angular position. Now the next term is angular displacement. What is angular displacement? It is the change in angular position. It is the change in angular position, that is delta theta. Now what are the important points about angular displacement? Important points about angular displacement. So the first important point is it is observer dependent. It is observer dependent. For example, see in this figure, see there are two observers. One is observer 1 and one is observer 2. Particle moves from this position to this position. When the particle moves from this position to this position, the observer 1 sees that with respect to his eye, the particle has covered an angle theta 1. With respect to this observer, you are seeing that this particle has covered an angle theta 2, right? So the angular displacement with respect to observer 2 is less than that with respect to observer 1. So first point, important point about angular displacement is it is observer dependent. Unlike linear displacement. Linear displacement is independent of the position of the observer in a given frame. So linear displacement is independent. See, if whether it is observer 1 or observer 2, the linear displacement from here to here will be same, this, right? But the angular displacement is different. So in the same frame, if two observers are in the same frame, then also you can see that the angular displacement with respect to both the observer in the same frame can be different. The common example of this is when you are moving by a train, you see that the objects that are closer to you appears to move very fast, but the objects that are far away from you appears to move very slow, because the far away objects cover very less angle with your eye with time, but the nearer objects, they cover very large angle in a very small time. That is why you are seeing the nearby objects are moving very fast with respect to you, but the far away objects appears to remain stationary, right? So the first important point was, again, it is observer dependent, unlike linear displacement, which is same for all the observers in a given frame. Second point, angular displacement we'll divide it into two types. One is instantaneous angular displacement and one is average angular displacement. Average angular displacement. So when we are talking about instantaneous angular displacement, then we are talking about the angular displacement in a very short interval of time. So this is angular displacement in a infinitesimally small interval of time. And what is average angular displacement? It is angular displacement over a finite time. So this is over a finite time. Now the third thing is average angular displacement. Average angular displacement is not a vector quantity. It is neither a vector nor a scalar. It is a tensor quantity. It is a tensor quantity. We'll discuss why. But instantaneous angular displacement is a vector quantity. Fourth point is the direction of angular displacement. So angular displacement is actually an axial vector. Now what do you mean by an axial vector? See, curl your fingers along the direction of motion. Curl your fingers along the direction of motion. The direction of the thumb, remember right hand, you have to use the right hand. The direction of the thumb gives the direction of angular displacement. Suppose this is a circular motion, and if you curl your fingers, you will see that the direction of the thumb will be perpendicular to the plane of the curl. So that means, therefore, the direction of angular displacement is perpendicular to the plane of motion. The direction of angular displacement is perpendicular to the plane of motion. Now in JEE, only motion in 2 dimensions is required. Only motion in 2 dimensions is required. What I mean to say is, suppose there is a complex motion. See, suppose you have a complex motion, like, see, if this particle is first moving in this plane, curling, and then suddenly it starts to curl in the different plane, then it suddenly starts to curl in again a different plane. So in that case, you will see that the thumb will point in different directions every time. But in JEE, only 2-dimensional rotational motion is required. What do you mean by this? That means whatever be the curl, it will be in the plane of the paper only. So in that case, the direction of, in this case, the direction of angular displacement, can be signified using a plus and minus sign. So that means, suppose you are taking upward as positive and downward as negative. Suppose this is a circular motion. Suppose you are curling in the anti-clockwise direction. So if you are curling in the anti-clockwise direction, curl your fingers along the sense of rotation. The direction of thumb is upward. So you will say this is positive displacement. And in this case, if the direction of the curl is clockwise, then the thumb will point downwards, then you will say it is negative displacement. All right. So dotted lines means inside the plane. This dotted lines means inside the plane. So again I'll repeat, because we are dealing with only two-dimensional curvilinear motion, that is why this direction of angular motion, angular displacement, can be signified using just a plus and minus sign. Okay. Now one more thing you should understand is that angular displacement is not just defined for circular motion. It is a general concept. Angular displacement is not just defined for circular motion. It is a general concept. That means, suppose a particle is moving in a straight line. Still you will say that with respect to this observer, it is making a turn of angle theta. Similarly, with respect to this observer, it is again making a turn of angle theta dash. Okay, so angular displacement is just defined for circular motion. It is a general concept. It is the angle covered by a particle with respect to any observer. So it is basically what? The angle covered. It is the angle covered by a particle with respect to a observer, and this observer is mostly a fixed point. It is not necessary that it is a fixed point, but it is a fixed point. All right. So now in a circular motion, that fixed point about which the particle rotate, about which a particle rotate, is basically the center of the circle. Now if you have to define a circular motion, first you must know what is a circle. So what is a circle? It is the locus or collection of points which are equidistant from a fixed point which is called the center of the circle in a plane. If it is in 3 dimension, it will become a sphere. All right. So this is a circle, right? The next point is the angular displacement is a dimensionless quantity and its SI unit is radian. So angular displacement is measured in radian. You know that 360 degree is equal to 2 pi radian, right? We have discussed that average angular displacement is a tensor quantity. Average angular displacement is a tensor quantity. It is not a vector quantity. It is not a scalar quantity. Why? Because it does not follow commutative property. it does not follow commutative property. That means you will say that theta 1 plus theta 2, if you write it in vector form, is not equal to theta 2 plus theta 1. Okay, you can also write delta theta because we can represent displacement as delta theta, change in angular position. Okay, but instantaneous displacement can be commutative. So d theta 1 plus d theta 2 can be written as d theta 2 plus d theta 1. Also note, I will again repeat it, the direction of angular displacement is the direction of angular displacement is perpendicular to the plane of rotation, is perpendicular to the plane of rotation. One more thing, this rotation does not mean exactly circular motion. I am referring to any curvilinear path. Okay, so the direction of angular displacement is always perpendicular to the plane of rotation because thumb will be perpendicular to the plane of rotation. Okay, so next is angular velocity represented by omega. Now angular velocity is defined as rate of change of angular position, rate of change of angular position. Angular velocity can be of again two types. One is the average angular velocity, and the other is instantaneous angular velocity. Now average angular velocity, omega average, is equal to delta theta upon delta t. That means there is a finite change in angle. Now omega average is also a tensor quantity just like delta theta. Means it has directions but it does not follow the commutative property. That is why it is not a vector quantity. But for our calculations we will assume delta theta and also omega average as a vector quantity. Now instantaneous angular velocity or omega instantaneous is equal to limit delta t approaches 0, that is infinitesimally small time, delta theta upon delta t. So the change in angular position in an infinitesimally small time is means instantaneous angular velocity, and that will be represented by d theta by dt. And since d theta is a vector quantity, so you will say that this is a vector quantity. Now we will find the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. So the relation between linear velocity and angular velocity. Let a particle P is moving in this path. So at any particular instant, suppose this is the velocity of the particle and this is the observer which is observing this particle. So at this particular point, this is the velocity of the particle. We will resolve this velocity into two components. One is v cos alpha and the other is v sin alpha. Suppose this vector is r vector. Then v cos alpha is the component of velocity, along r vector, and we will call this v parallel. And v sin alpha is the component of velocity perpendicular to r vector, and we will call this v perpendicular. Now clearly you can see that v cos alpha is not responsible for the change in angle. V cos alpha or the v parallel is not responsible for change in angle. So that means v sin alpha here V sin alpha, this can change the angle. So V sin alpha or the V perpendicular can change the angle. So the angular velocity of this point with respect to this point can be defined as omega of point P with respect to point O is equal to V perpendicular divided by R. R is the magnitude of R vector. Okay, so this is equal to V sin alpha divided by R. Or you can also say that V sin alpha or V perpendicular is equal to omega R. If you want to write this in vector form, you will write V perpendicular is equal to omega cross R. Okay, so this is the relation between velocity vector and angular velocity vector. Okay, now suppose you have a circle, a circular motion. Now in a circular motion, you know that velocity is already perpendicular to the r vector. Velocity is already perpendicular to the r vector. So in this case, in a circular motion, velocity is perpendicular to r vector. That means what? That means V perpendicular is equal to V and V parallel is 0. In a circular motion, the radius is fixed, and that's why this length is not changing. The velocity is already perpendicular to r vector. So in this case, in a circular motion, we can directly write omega is equal to V perpendicular by r, that is V by r, or V is equal to omega r. So in a circular motion, we can write V is equal to omega r. For any general curvilinear motion, you will write V perpendicular is equal to omega r. But for circular motion, this V is already V perpendicular. So you will write V is equal to omega r. Okay. So again, if you write it in vector form, you will say V is equal to omega cross r. This is the relation between velocity vector and angular velocity vector in a circular motion. Now let us check the direction. Now suppose this particle is moving in a clockwise sense. So if this particle is moving in a clockwise sense, so curl your finger along the rotation. Then you will see that the thumb is pointing downwards. That means the angular velocity is downwards. So the angular velocity is downwards. Okay, the angular velocity is downwards. So omega cross r, and r vector is in this direction. So if you do omega cross r, you will clearly see that this thumb will point in this direction. So that means omega cross r is in this direction. So this velocity is in the direction of omega cross r. Okay, so now here we have written about the average angular velocity and the instantaneous angular velocity. This average angular velocity direction is along angular displacement. So you will write direction of average angular velocity is along displacement or angular displacement, and similarly the direction of instantaneous angular velocity is also along instantaneous angular displacement. So instantaneous angular velocity direction is same as instantaneous angular displacement direction. Okay, now let us look at this situation. Suppose this is the center of this circle and this is a point A, and suppose this is a point B, and this is a particle which is moving in this circle at an angular velocity omega. Now find the angular velocity of the particle. So this is the particle. Find the angular velocity of the particle with respect to the center, that is suppose point O, comma, with respect to A and with respect to B. So you need to find the angular velocity of the particle with respect to O, A and B. Suppose this distance is R. Let us define the angular velocity. Angular velocity is equal to V by or V perpendicular by R. Now what is this R vector? This R is what? The R is the distance between the point about which you want to find the angular velocity and the position of the particle, the distance. So R is the distance between the particle and the point about which you want to find angular velocity. Okay, so clearly you can see that with respect to point O, with respect to point O, the angular velocity will be, so suppose the velocity is V, so the angular velocity will be V upon R, and this is omega, because when you say that the particle is rotating with a angular velocity omega in a circle, that means they assume that it is with respect to the center. So whenever in a circular motion it is given to you that the particle is rotating in a circle with an angular velocity omega, that means they are giving you the angular velocity with respect to the center. But now they have asked you the angular velocity with respect to this point. So with respect to this point, it is very simple. See, suppose this particle has rotated an angle theta with respect to the center. Then with respect to this point A, clearly you can see that this has rotated an angle theta by 2. This is the property of the circle. Angle subtended at the center is twice the angle subtended at the circumference. Okay, so clearly you can see that in the same time about point A, this particle has rotated an angle theta by 2. So the angular velocity has to be half of the angular velocity about the point O. So clearly with respect to point A, you will write with respect to point A, the angular velocity will be omega dash. So the value of omega dash will be V by, so this distance, the distance between the point A and the particle, that is 2r. So omega dash will be equal to V upon 2r, that is omega by 2. Similarly, with respect to point B, this distance is 3r. So the with respect to point B, the value suppose is omega double dash, and that will be equal to V upon 3r, that is omega by 3. So the angular velocity will depend on the observer, like the angular displacement. We have discussed the angular displacement depends on the observer. Similarly, the angular velocity also depends on the observer. Now suppose there are two particles A and B. Till now what we have discussed is, we have seen that this was at rest and we have found the angular velocity of this particle with respect to this particle or this point. So in this case, suppose these A and B are two particles and this particle is moving with a velocity suppose VA and this particle is suppose moving with a velocity VB. Then we need to find the angular velocity of particle B with respect to particle A. We need to find the angular velocity of particle B with respect to particle A. So suppose the line joining the two particles A and B at this instant is distance is r. Okay, so what you will do is, suppose because you are asked to find the angular velocity of the particle B with respect to particle A, so you'll write it like this, omega B with respect to A. So this time that means you are sitting in the frame of A. Sit in the frame of A. When you sit in the frame of A, what you will do, you will find the relative velocity of B with respect to A. Then what you will do, you will find the component of relative velocity perpendicular to the line joining the two particles. And this will be the angular velocity of particle B with respect to A. So in this situation, in this diagram, we can see that velocity of B with respect to A is, see, velocity of B with respect to A is VB minus VA. Suppose this angle is theta 1, this angle is theta 2. So you will write, suppose the left direction is positive. So you will write VB cos theta 2 plus VB sin theta 2 minus VA cos theta 1 plus VA sin theta 1. I have assumed the left direction to be positive. Okay, so you will write this is I cap, this is J cap, this is I cap, this is J cap. Okay, so VB cos theta 2 plus VA cos theta 1 I cap plus VB sin theta 2 minus VA sin theta 1 J cap. Clearly you can see that this is the component along AB. So this is the x-axis and this is the component perpendicular to AB. So you will say omega BA is equal to VB sin theta 2 minus VA sin theta 1 divided by R is AB or R. So when you want to find the angular velocity of a particle B with respect to particle A, what will you say? It is equal to the component of relative velocity which is perpendicular to AB divided by the separation between them. Now let us discuss some important points. First is the angular velocity has dimensions t minus 1 and SI unit is radian per second. So we have already discussed that the angular displacement is dimensionless and its unit is radian. So similarly the angular velocity, that is rate of change of angular position, is its dimension is 1 by second and its unit is radian per second. Okay, second point is very important, listen to me carefully. For a rigid body, suppose you have a rigid body, suppose this is the fan and this fan is rotating, this is the fan which is rotating. Now every point on this fan is rotating by a same angle. Every point is rotating by the same angle. So the angular variables of all points in a rigid body are same. This is a very important point. The angular variables of all points in a rigid body are same. That means all particles in this rigid body, so in this rigid body there are so many particles. All these particles are covering same angle and covering same angle in equal interval of time. That means the angular velocity is also same. So that's why I've written the angular variables of all points in a rigid body are always same, but linear variables are different or may be different. So you can see, if you remember, we have discussed the relation between V and omega. V is equal to omega R. More the R, more the velocity. Omega is same for all points. From the diagram also you can see. So this point has less R. So this point is moving less in the given time. This point is moving more in the given time. That means this speed is more, this speed is less. Understood? So angular variables of all points in a rigid body are always same, but linear variables may not be same. Okay, linear variables will depend on the distance of the point from the axis of rotation. Okay, we'll discuss more about rigid body dynamics in rotational motion chapter. Okay, now the next point is, if a body makes n rotations in t seconds, if the body makes n rotations in t seconds. So that means it covers an angle 2 pi in one rotation. So in n rotation it covers an angle 2 pi n in t seconds. Then the average angular velocity in radian per second will be 2 pi n by t. So omega average is equal to 2 pi n by t. Now if t is the time period and f is the frequency of uniform circular motion, then you will say omega average is equal to 2 pi by t or 2 pi f. So t is equal to 1 by f. F is the frequency. What is frequency? The number of turns, the number of circular motion in 1 second is called frequency. Okay, so if the particle takes t time, capital T time in one revolution, so t time, one revolution, so unit time 1 by t revolution. So number of revolution in unit time is called frequency. So therefore frequency is 1 by t, or t is 1 by f, the same thing. Okay, so if t is the time period and f is the frequency of circular motion, then omega average is equal to 2 pi by t, because it rotates an angle 2 pi and the time is t. So omega average is 2 pi by t, but t is 1 by f. So you can say omega average is equal to 2 pi f. Now let us take some problems. If the angular displacement of a particle is given by theta is equal to a minus bt plus ct square, then find its angular velocity. So this is very simple. Omega is d theta by dt. That will be equal to a minus b plus 2ct. Okay, so this is the angular velocity. Okay, now the next question. A particle is moving with constant speed in a circular path. Then find the ratio of its average velocity to its instantaneous velocity when the particle describes an angle pi by 2. So that means particle is rotating in a circle and it has rotated by an angle pi by 2. Okay, so this has rotated by an angle pi by 2. So find the ratio of its average velocity to its instantaneous velocity when the particle describes an angle theta is equal to pi by 2. So the instantaneous velocity clearly is equal to omega r. Okay, the magnitude. We have already discussed the relation between instantaneous velocity and the angular velocity. So now what is the average velocity? You know that average velocity is what? The total displacement by total time. So what is the total displacement? This is the total displacement. So this is r, this is r. Clearly this is root 2r. And time taken will be from here to here. The time taken will be, suppose this particle rotates 2 pi angle in one time period. So 2 pi angle in one time period, right? So pi by 2 angle in how much? T upon 2 pi multiplied by pi by 2. That is T by 4. Okay. Now 2 pi is equal to omega into T, because angle rotated is equal to omega into time, because the particle is rotating at a uniform angular velocity. So that means the angle rotated is equal to omega into t. So if it rotates 2 pi angle in one time period, so 2 pi is equal to omega into capital T. The capital T is one time period. So omega is 2 pi by t, or t is 2 pi by omega. Okay, this is the first case. And in the second case, the displacement is root 2r, the time taken is t by 4. So the average velocity is equal to root 2r divided by t by 4, that is 2 pi by 4 omega. So the average velocity will be equal to root 2 r omega, 2 root 2 r omega divided by pi. So if you take the ratio, you can see that the velocity instantaneous upon the velocity average will be equal to 2 root 2 upon pi. Okay. Now what is relative angular velocity? In circular motion or in any curvilinear motion, angular velocity of A with respect to B is different from relative angular velocity. They are not the same terms. Omega relative is defined as the angle covered per unit time, by one particle with respect to other particle about the same point. This is omega relative. So suppose this particle is performing a circular motion and this particle is performing a circular motion. Suppose they are concentric circles and this is performing a circular motion with angular velocity omega 1 and this particle is performing circular motion with an angular velocity omega 2. Then you will say that the relative angular velocity between them is equal to omega 1 minus omega 2 with sign. So you know that if the thumb is pointing inwards, then what will you say? You will say that the vector is negative, and if the thumb is pointing outwards, then you will say the vector is positive. Or you can take the vice versa sign convention also. If the thumb is pointing inwards, you can take that positive, and if the thumb is pointing outwards, you can take that negative. So here let us take inwards as positive. So in both cases you can see that they are pointing inwards. If you curl your fingers along the motion, the thumb will point inwards. So that means omega relative will be equal to omega 1 minus omega 2 in this diagram. So let me show you what is the difference between omega of A with respect to B and omega relative. So for that, let us suppose again take two concentric circles and suppose at particular instant both particles are along this line. Okay, now this particle is rotating with an angular velocity omega 1. When they give you angular velocity, that means they have given you angular velocity with respect to the center. Similarly, suppose this particle is rotating with an angular velocity omega 2. Okay, so now if you want to find this particle name, let us name it A and let us name this B. If they want you to find what is the angular velocity of B with respect to A, then what will you say? This is defined as VBA perpendicular divided by BA. Suppose this radius is R1, this radius is R2, and this will be equal to how much? So clearly you can see this VB is equal to, this VB is in this direction because velocity is to along the tangent. So VB is equal to omega 2 R2 and VA is equal to omega 1 R1. So both the velocities are already perpendicular to AB, right? So this is equal to omega 2 R2 minus omega 1 R1 divided by BA. BA is how much? R2 minus R1. So this is the angular velocity of B with respect to A. But what is the relative angular velocity? The relative angular velocity of B with respect to A is omega 2 minus omega 1. So let us assume that omega 1 is less and omega 2 is more. So if you draw the diagram again, so you will see that at a particular time, suppose both the particles started from this point, but at particular time this particle rotated from here to here. Suppose it rotated an angle theta 1, but if omega 2 is more, then you will say that suppose this particle rotated an angle theta 2, then the angle rotated by this particle with respect to this particle is how much? Theta 2 minus theta 1. So the angle rotated by B with respect to A is theta 2 minus theta 1. So omega relative is basically d of theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by dt. The rate at which the relative angle between them is changing is omega relative, and that is equal to d theta 2 by dt minus d theta 1 by dt, and that is equal to omega 2 minus omega 1. So the relative angular velocity is different from angular velocity of B with respect to A. If two particles are moving on a same circle or different coplanar concentric circles in same direction with uniform angular speeds omega A and omega B, they have given the uniform angular speeds omega A and omega B. They have not mentioned the observer. That means it is with respect to the center. Then the rate of change of angle between OA and OB is given by the relative angular velocity. So this is the d theta by dt is the relative angular velocity. Okay, so now the time taken by one to complete one revolution with respect to other is given by 2 pi upon omega relative, that is 2 pi upon omega 2 minus omega 1, that is equal to t1 t2 upon t1 minus t2. This can be calculated by using t1 is equal to 2 pi by omega 1 and t2 is equal to 2 pi by omega 2. Now again this note, omega b minus omega a is the rate of change of angle between OA and OB. This is not the angular velocity of B with respect to A. So angular velocity of B with respect to A means the rate at which line AB rotates. But omega relative is omega B minus omega A. It is the rate at which angle between OA and OB changes. So these two are not the same thing. Okay. Okay, now let us take the next question. Find the angular velocity of A with respect to B in the given figure. So clearly you need the perpendicular component of velocity, right? So let us draw this line, and this is what? VA sine theta 1. And this, let us draw this line, and this will be VB sine theta 2. And you know the relative velocity perpendicularly will be VAB perpendicular will be equal to VA sine theta 1 plus VB sine theta 2. So that means omega of A with respect to B is equal to VAB perpendicular upon AB, and that is equal to VA sine theta 1 plus VB sine theta 2 upon R. AB is R. Next question is, find the time period of meeting of minute hand and second hand of a clock. So suppose you have one minute hand and one second hand. So you know that the time period of minute hand is how much? So the time period of minute hand of a clock is 60 minutes, and the time period of second hand of a clock. Basically in this question what you have to do, you have to find the omega relative. So omega relative is equal to omega 2 minus omega 1. So the time period of minute hand with respect to hour hand will be 2 pi upon omega relative. That means suppose both are together at this particular time, then after how much time they will again be together, and that will be given by, suppose you sit in the frame of A. So A is at rest, then B will rotate with what? B will rotate with an angular velocity omega 2 minus omega 1. Now because this is at rest, to meet again they will have to rotate an angle 2 pi, right? So you will use this relation theta is equal to omega t. So you can use this like this also, theta relative is equal to omega relative into t. So you can say theta relative is 2 pi is equal to omega relative into t. So that value of t will be 2 pi by omega relative. So this you can generalize. Whenever you are asked the time period of one particle with respect to other particle, you will use t is equal to 2 pi by omega relative. Now from this you can calculate the value of omega from the time period, and you can get the value of relative time period. Okay, this question we have already done. The particle A, we need to find the angular velocity of particle A with respect to O, B and C. We have already done this. Okay, Similarly, in this case, again we have to find the angular velocity of particle A with respect to O and with respect to B. Now, angular velocity of particle A with respect to O is V upon R. But angular velocity of particle A with respect to B, because B is also moving, so you will need V perpendicular relative velocity divided by 2R, and that will be equal to, see, this is V, this is minus V divided by 2R, so that will be equal to 2V by 2R, that is equal to V by R. So according to question, V by R is omega, so this is also omega. So particle A is rotating with an angular velocity omega with respect to O. With respect to particle B also, it is rotating at an angular velocity omega. Again, find the angular velocity of A with respect to O at the instant shown in the figure. So at this instant, find the angular velocity of A with respect to O. Because O is a fixed point, now this is a very simple question. Because O is a fixed point, this D, this is root 2D, this is V. Clearly this angle is 45 degree because the perpendicular and base are same. So this velocity component perpendicular to this will be V cos 45. So omega will be equal to V cos 45 divided by root 2D, and that is equal to V by 2D. Okay. Again, in this question, you have a projectile which is launched from the horizontal plane. So there is a projectile which is launched from the horizontal plane, and suppose this is the point of projection. Then find the angular velocity as observed from the point of projection at the time of landing. So this is the point of projection, and this is the point of landing. You know that by symmetry, if this is projected at an angle theta with a velocity v, then it will fall on the ground, it will land on the ground with the same velocity v at the same angle theta, and this particular length is the range. So this is the observer and this is the point of landing. So omega of this point with respect to this point will be equal to v perpendicular upon range, and that will be equal to v sine theta divided by range, and range is v square sine 2 theta upon g. So v cancelled, this is equal to g sine theta divided by v into 2 sine theta cos theta. Sine theta also getting cancelled, so you will get the value of omega as g upon 2v cos theta. So this is the value of angular velocity of the landing point with respect to the point of projection. In the next question, you are given a spotlight S. So this is a spotlight which is rotating in the horizontal plane with a constant angular velocity of 0.1 radian per second. So this is a spotlight which is rotating. Okay, and the spot of the light P moves along the wall at a distance of 3 meter. So this distance is 3 meter. This is the wall. Okay, the spot of light P moves along the wall at a distance of 3 meter. The velocity of the spot P when theta is 45 degree. So this is rotating with a given angular velocity omega. So this is the angular velocity. Now you know that the angular velocity of the rotation of the source has to be same as the angular velocity of the rotation of this point P. So what you will do, because this distance is 3 and this angle is 45 degree, you can say that this distance is 3 sec 45, that is 3 root 2. And this is the velocity, and you need the velocity component perpendicular to SP. Because this angle is 45, this angle is also 45, so you can say this is V by root 2. So you will say that omega will be equal to V by root 2 divided by 3 root 2. and that will be equal to v upon root 2 into 1 upon 3 root 2, that is equal to v by 6. So omega is 0.1 is equal to v upon 6. So v is equal to 0.6 meter per second. So you have got the velocity with which this spotlight is moving along the ground. Okay. Next angular variable is the angular acceleration, which is represented by alpha. So what is angular acceleration? Angular acceleration is defined as rate of change of angular velocity. Rate of change of angular velocity is called angular acceleration. Now, angular acceleration can also be classified as average angular acceleration and instantaneous angular acceleration. Average angular acceleration, A alpha average is equal to delta omega upon delta t. And instantaneous angular acceleration, alpha instantaneous, is equal to limit delta t approaches 0, delta omega upon delta t, and that is equal to d omega upon dt. Now both average and instantaneous accelerations are vector quantity. They both are vector quantity. And remember one more thing, the direction of alpha is not along omega. The direction of alpha is along change in omega. The direction of angular acceleration is along change in angular velocity and not angular velocity. So again, I'm underlining this. The direction is along change in angular velocity and not angular velocity. So this is just same as what we have discussed in acceleration. So angular acceleration is the rate at which the angular velocity changes. Hello students, if you like my work, do hit the like button and share my work with your friends. Also, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. You'll be notified when I upload my next video.